Hi everyone, it's Roger and James here from the What's on Disney Plus podcast. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about that whopping great big list of tweets that Disney put out with all of the content coming to Disney Plus when it launches. And I think probably that would be it, because that's one heck of a list. That was a lot of stuff. So before we get into all of that, just a quick bit of housekeeping before we go any further. So I just want to say a big thank you to both Diane and also Julie over on our Patreon. You can support us over at patreon.com/What's on Disney Plus. Helps keep the podcast going, so your support really does make all the difference with that one. Also, just a big shout out. This week, we hit 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. So a big thank you to everyone that's subscribed over there. Just kind of quite, I can't believe this. Having been doing YouTube pretty much since 2003, that's been quite an accomplishment to hit that one. So big thank you for everyone for doing that. And also as well, you know, you can join up with our Facebook group, and you can find us on Twitter and Facebook, etc., etc. But nevertheless, before we get into the big bit of news, James, what have you been watching this past week?
I was watching the second episode of Star Wars Resistance Season 2, which came out this week. And then I watched a couple of National Geographic documentaries. People who watched the show last week saw that I had some checked out from the library, so I got around to watching those. Someone
did actually put in the comments that big shout out to you for going to the library, because they work at a library and they were so pleased to hear somebody say they went to the library. So that was a shout out in the comments about the fact that you went to the library.
Well, I actually go to the library a lot. It's a great resource for videos, at least here in the States. A lot of the libraries around here have a very big collection, not just, you know, National Geographics, but movies. And the one that I go to here in Colorado, they've always got like some of the newer ones out, and then they feature some older ones too. So I go at least, I don't know, once every other week or so and check out their stuff. But obviously we don't talk about it here because the Disney movies I already have, and, you know, well, I guess I can talk about National Geographic, but this time it actually came in. So these ones specifically were about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
They were a collection of like 6 episodes from National Geographic's. From 2009 to 2011-ish. The special effects haven't held up all that well. It's only been 10 years, but the special effects look very dated. Obviously, they don't have, you know, a Jurassic Park budget or whatever.
No.
But the actual documentaries were very interesting. I think even that information might be dated by now too, because they didn't talk about feathers. They didn't talk about some of the newer dinosaurs and stuff like. I don't know. I have to admit, I don't know if the feather theory, the bird theory, is still considered like up to date, if people are debating it or not. But I feel like it's something that's at least should be in the conversation on documentaries, unless it's been completely debunked. Yeah. In which case, obviously not. But
well, actually, it actually does bring up a good point about that list of movies and stuff that was revealed. There wasn't really much National Geographic content before, like 2010. It didn't really start kicking up into the National Geographic stuff till there. So I'm wondering, and this will be a whole topic later on, but that was kind of quite interesting to note that there wasn't anything. And there could be a number of reasons for that, and I'm sure we'll get into that later. But I did want to just highlight that while you mentioned it.
That's interesting. I hadn't noticed that at all. We'll talk about it in a bit, like you said. But National Geographics, I was actually looking at the list. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of ones here I really want to see. But I didn't notice that they were newer in terms of that. So that, we'll talk about that in a bit. But that's what I watched. Some dinosaur documentaries and Star Wars Resistance episode 2.
So I watched Captain Marvel because that came on to Disney Plus on Sunday on the trial. So I watched Captain Marvel. I also finished off Return of the Jedi. So I'm done the first 2 trilogies now. So now I'm going to make my way on to the next 2. Because I kind of wanted to get through the 8 episodes before episode 9 comes out. So I'm nice and caught up. And I want to kind of get through them this week. Really, my plan was to get through the Star Wars stuff all before kind of November, really, when all the new shows and stuff. Because I know once Disney Plus hits, I'm going to be wanting to watch all the originals and all the rest of it. So I thought it was a good time to be doing that there. And then also as well, because I've had Disney Life in the UK for a few years, a lot of the stuff we're going to be talking about, a lot of that is available anyway. So it's not like, oh, I haven't seen that in years or I haven't got access to it. A lot of it already I've had access to for years. You know, it's just that kind of thing. So I also I started watching The Incredible Dr. Poe. Started watching that's one of the new seasons on National Geographic. I watched that one. I don't know if I remembered if I mentioned watching Great Migrations. I watched the first episode of that as well. From that, I'm kind of trying to go through the National Geographic seasons and try and watch some of those shows I've not seen, see if I like them, see what they are and stuff. So that's been it. But nevertheless, so that's been what we've been watching. So let's jump into the news. And man, it's one of those funny things. We're recording this a little bit earlier than normal due to life issues this week, and we were there going, "Oof, are we going to have anything to talk about?" Doing it a few days after our last recording, and yeah, we got a topic here. Disney went on a Twitter rampage, just putting out tweet after tweet after tweet of all the shows and movies that are going to be available when it launches in the US on November the 12th. And I think 650 tweets or something like that. All I know is, luckily for me, it was pouring down with rain. I was at work. It was a dreadful day. It was so bad. So I was sat there and I was kept doing the update in the story, to the point where I actually had cramp in my hand because of having to right click, left, drop it in. And it's like, well, okay, I'm going to have to sort all this out afterwards. 3 hours, I think it took them to get all the tweets out. It was quite, I kept having messages from people going, are you going home? It's really bad. You don't need to be at work anymore. So, no, it's fine. And my staff sat there in the rain going, are we going? No, I'm just like, no, I'm thinking, no, I've got so much stuff to do here. It's like, it's the only chance I got it. But 3 hours it took them to get it all out. It's like, I don't know. On one hand, it was a genius because every single video, every single sort of movie and show got its own little light out, and people were commenting, people were tweeting, retweeting, getting all that. But the amount of people as well going, you were spamming, they were being muted. People was like, I mean, there was a few of us that were writing afterwards when they're gone of like, whoever was doing this, they kind of needed to go, maybe have a raise or maybe go have a break or something. But it was a bit of a weird way of doing it, and Disney still didn't come out with the official list. I mean, maybe there might be a reason for that in a minute, but it was one weird way of doing it. It was a really weird way of doing it.
And that was only half of the equation, because they also came out with that video that was like 3.5 hours long. It's 20-second clips or 20-second adverts of every single show that they tweeted about as well.
I don't know if I might be the only one that actually did. I put that on.
Well, I didn't watch it. Honestly.
Yeah, I did. So see, that's how dedicated I was. I sat through it while I was sorting out bits and pieces for the site. I was putting it on, and there was like music going through, and they kept going. And I got to one point, and I'm going, "Wow, this thing's been off for like 2 hours." And I did turn it. I think I turned it off about then because I'm going, "Oh my, we're still only at like 2,000." Because I know when I was looking, like, going through the tweets and going, "Oh my, we're still only at like 2,000. That means we've still got like 20 more years to go yet." Because it was obviously there's not a lot from the earlier years, because they were releasing them in year, so they were going year on year. So then it was becoming very noticeable that things really started ramping up. Whether or not Disney started ramping up production around the 2000s, I don't know, like the Disney Channel when they started getting all their movies put in there. It's been funny as well because there's been a lot of reaction I've seen from articles online about all these like weird and wacky movies that no one knows about, and they're all really weird. And I'll be honest, I probably would have felt like that 8 to 10 months ago, but our Facebook group, this is what everybody's asking for. So Mr. Boogly and all these like really Boys in Toyland and all these really random movies I'd never heard of. I've been hearing people have been asking in the Facebook group. So a lot of them are like, "Oh yeah, that's good. People have been asking about that. Oh, people have been asking about that." So I didn't have that surprise factor because so many people have been asking for some really obscure movies that I'd never heard of. And there are some really obscure deep cuts on here. I mean, these are like Netflix original quality. Shade.
I'm throwing some shade. I'll throw some the other direction. I gather that the Breaking Bad movie is doing really, really well. But yeah. I've seen the show. I have not seen El Camino yet. I will at some point. But yeah, in general, I mean, they're not bad. They're just not super great, and that's kind of shade at Netflix, but that's also shade at all the shows we're talking about here. There's stuff I definitely hadn't heard of here. So I had a slightly different experience. I don't have Twitter, so I wasn't following the tweets. I loaded up. I had a meeting, and before I left for the meeting, nothing had been announced. And I get back from the meeting, and there is the Disney launch titles officially announced on what's on DisneyPlus.com. And I start scrolling through, and I'm like, oh, banner. Start paging down. Wow, this is a big list. And then I look over on the tab on the side, and I'm like, I haven't even gone a tenth of the way down the page. And I'm like, so I just hit the end button, went all the way to the bottom, and read the written list. But, yeah.
Well, it was that thing. It was that weird thing. I thought, oh, these pictures are really good, high quality. These are going to be great. It's like, didn't quite realize when I started writing the article, because I posted it and going like updating as we're going along, and like going, okay, yeah, it was interesting. It's a very interesting list, and I want to put this out there right now. Right at the very end of it all, they did actually put out a thing saying, thank you very much. Stay tuned. There will be more announcements to come. And it's very important that I think people look at this list and realize there are a lot more stuff to come, and whether or not it's coming for launch or whether or not it's going to be coming straight afterwards or whether they're going to start drip feeding. But there were some major things missing. So much the fact that there was a Twitter account made up that someone was quick to smart of not on Disney Plus, and they were putting up all the ones that weren't on there, and they got some traction as well, because there's like, when I went through that Twitter and going, wow, there is a lot missing here. There was some Up, Maleficent, National Treasure 1. There was a whole load of things that were missing. And some of these things were announced back at the April's Investors Day, and they were also shown at the D23 Expo. I think there's going to be another Twitter dump. I think there was going to be another lot, because there's some big movies that are missing from this list that shouldn't be. I mean, but there's a lot of great movies in there as well. You've got like the Spider-Man animated series. You've got Malcolm in the Middle. There was Avatar. There's tons of stuff in there, to the point where I was looking through the list and going, that's almost a good enough list to do a second round and go, oh, wait, there's even more coming to Disney Plus, and drop another 100, 200, because they're going to hit that 500 movies already. They've already kind of hit that. So I thought that, so there's a lot of people asking for stuff. There was a lot of things that they have shown off and gone, these will all be available at launch. And it's like, because I'm going to do an article later today, or during the week, there'll be one going up where I'm going to pick out some of the ones that they have said that were coming and weren't in that list, because I do think that there will be another drop. They might have even dropped by the time this video even goes out, but yeah, I got a feeling that that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense given the list of items that are not on there. Like you mentioned, National Treasure 2, or National Treasure 2 is on the list. National Treasure 1 is not. And then you can look at other franchises like the Muppets. They have Treasure Island. They have Most Wanted, which was the 2014 movie. And then a couple other random ones, but like they don't have some of the major ones that came out, the earlier ones. I mean, they've got the Muppet movie and the Muppets, but then they're missing several
Alice
others.
Through the Looking Glass, that's
Alice Through the Looking Glass.
There's a lot Tomorrowland. There's enough movie. Oh, John Carter was another one that was missing. And these are big Disney hits that they can, they're going to make that second, oh, here's even more. And that's going to, because they don't want to get even, they needed to keep some of the big titles back to get some more attention on them. It's like they didn't mention any of the shorts, the Pixar Spark shorts, Steamboat Willie, all the classics, the Silly Symphony. There was a load of animated series, I think, like Stargirl. That was one that was, or the Star versus Girl or something like that.
Star versus Evil.
Yeah, that's it.
Star versus Evil, or the Forces of Evil. Sorry. Once Upon a Time, the television show. That was one of their biggest hits on television, and when it went
Agent Carter,
7 seasons. Agent Carter.
Runaways. There's a lot of stuff that has
Runaways is iffy,
iffy. I do think that there is going to be a secondary drop. It wouldn't surprise me if it's next week or a week before it, but I think that will get even more attention on the fact of going, wow, we had so much before, they've done it again, you know, and there could be another 200-300 episodes of movies dropped in. There's a lot of Fox stuff that wasn't shown off that they previously shown off, like Horton Hears a Who, the Doctor Dolittle, there was a lot of big heavy hitters, or maybe not necessarily. There was a few heavy hitters, but there's a few in there that, to me, was like, that's going to make a big list. That's going to have and I can't help but feel like to have that second drop, everyone's going, oh my god, they've done it again. You know, that's going to be a big PR boost. And on one hand, I think it was a bit odd, but then it might make sense why they've not officially shown off the list. And there was always that kind of, oh, here's basically what everything is coming. Basically. That was a kind of like, well, that's a bit of a weird term, because that doesn't necessarily mean, oh, he is everything. It's like, he's basically everything. It kind of leaves it wide open for more.
Yeah, and marketing-wise, them announcing the list, or in this manner, announcing the list like this, doesn't actually make sense this far in advance of the launch, unless they're planning on doing a couple of waves of it. While they have hit the major ones, so I'm not expecting any major surprises in Wave 2, this hypothetical Wave 2. You know, there's enough missing that I think you can justify that it will probably be coming. There might even be a third wave, although if there was, it would probably be like a serious deep reach on some stuff that most people haven't even heard of, including us.
Yeah, so I definitely want to. There's a lot of people asking, like, well, this isn't on there and this isn't on there, and I'm like going, actually, there's a lot missing. It's that thing of when you were looking at it first, going, wow, that's a lot. But I know on the Netherlands, there's about 650, 620 like movies and shows on there. So this is quite a lot. There's some things on like the Netherlands that people are going, well, it's on the Netherlands. It's like, yeah, there's a reason why they've missed so much off of this. We've got so I am expecting a second wave, and it wouldn't surprise me even if it was like 200-300 movies and shows that have that impact of that thing of like going, because some people are looking at the list going, oh, this is amazing, and other people are looking going, well, it's just full of like Disney rubbish and stuff. Like there's a lot of there is people are like, oh, it's all just kid stuff. Well, it is Disney Plus. That's what they've been focused on, and I don't think there was, again, not a lot of news about. There was a lot of Disney Channel stuff missing and bits and pieces. There was other things like 101 Dalmatian Street that was missing, and a few other other new things as well. But let's now sort of look really at that list. So what instantly caught your eye first off?
Well, I mentioned it right at the beginning, actually, was a number of the National Geographic's library items that they listed off right at the beginning. In fact, we obviously knew about some of these, but I hadn't done a deep dive on National Geographic's on what they've done for their television and movies and so on in the last, let's say, 20 years or so. So a lot of the ones on this list, like Kingdom of the White Wolf, I was like, I want to see that. Apollo missions to the moon. I'm scrolling down through it right now. Just kind of the Lost Tomb of Alexander the Great sounds really interesting. Lost Treasures of the Maya sounds interesting. There's just a lot of documentaries, and yes, the first thing I'm going to look at is The Mandalorian and maybe a couple of the other originals, Lady and the Tramp, which also had a trailer come out. But once I'm through that initial wave of things, I think I'm really going to be looking at the National Geographics, and there are a lot here that I'm like, ooh, I need to make a note of that so I can put that down.
Yeah, I mean, we've said this before. There was like the Kingdom of the White Wolf that because that only literally like this month has come on to National Geographic. This is like a brand new series like this month, so I'm interested to see that it's on there so quickly. We've got things like Gordon Ramsay Uncharted, which I did love the fact that IGN did take that and put Uncharted in there with Nathan Drake, so that was kind of quite fun. So those are ones that are gonna. There were some other shows that they've previously said, like Bear Grylls weren't on there, but Life Below Zero. There's a lot of stuff there that I'm looking forward to. And again, I think this is again coming from our age point of we are looking to Disney Plus for original content that's aimed at adults, and that National Geographic content is going to be a key thing going forward. And I'm really hoping at some point they kind of get out this idea of how quickly things are going to be appearing on Disney Plus. I think they really need to get that out there, because this list was kind of like, oh, okay, so Amphibia being confirmed, Big City Greens. I mean, I've been wanting to watch Amphibia, the new Disney Channel animation series. That was confirmed, so that's good. But yeah, those National Geographic stuff definitely stand out to me.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've obviously got a big eye on those, and I'm looking forward to seeing those. But how about we go in the opposite direction on this one? The some of the other shows that I was looking at that I forgot about, Lego Star Wars. Yeah, I forgot those were even a thing. I've seen a couple episodes of the Freemaker Adventures. That was actually really funny. The new Yoda Chronicles, which are kind of like an alternate look at the movies. The original movies and the prequels. That was before The Force Awakens. The All-Stars, I haven't seen any of that. Droid Tale, I haven't seen any of that. Obviously, they're aimed at a younger audience, so this is the complete opposite end of the spectrum from National Geographic's and The Mandalorian. But I don't know, the creativity that goes into the Lego movies and the games is often just enough to keep them entertaining no matter what your age is.
Yeah, I've been wanting to watch the Frozen one, the Frozen Lego series. That was one of the animated series that I was interested in. I'm still kind of working my way through Gravity Falls on Disney Life, so I'll probably flick over to Disney Plus with that one. Kind of carry on with them. Resistance was one I've mentioned before. I wanted to start because the Disney Life system in the UK is like a year to 18 months behind the Disney Channel. A lot of the new stuff I've not seen. So that's kind of interesting. There's there was just so much stuff that was shown off. And I mean, I've just got the list here, and there are so many different shows and movies. There's much more movie focused than TV series, I do think, on this drop. But it was just amazing to see how much bits and pieces they dropped. I mean, there were some really like weird, random movies now, wasn't there?
Yeah, there were a lot of ones on here that I'd never heard of. Not one of those movies, a movie I have heard of, but it amuses me. We've got Freaky Friday in here 3 different times, 77, 2003, and 2018. I think 2003 was the Jamie Lee Curtis one. I'm not sure. I don't know anything about the 2018 one, and I only have a passing understanding of 1977. I know the story, but I just love that it's been remade twice now, and then a third time with the original. But no, go ahead. What were you saying?
I was going to say, just spotted there, Hostile Planet. I watched the first 2 episodes of that earlier this year, and I want to finish that series off. That was a really good documentary series. I love those kind of ones. That was a really good series that I'm going to be picking up.
Anything space related is instantly on my radar, whether it's about the planets in the solar system, the space race, going to Mars, launching satellites, repairing satellites like the shuttle missions, any of that stuff. I'm instantly in on all of that. So there's a lot of content for me to pick up there, because while I've seen some of the the stuff that the BBC puts out, some of the stuff that say Neil deGrasse Tyson or Morgan Freeman put out, I haven't seen the National Geographic stuff, and I'm looking forward to it.
Another series that I'm looking forward to, and it's now official. If you've been following the creator on Twitter, you'll know what that joke is about. But The Legend of the Three Caballeros, I'm trying to pronounce that correctly, has been officially confirmed. And that's going to be
neither of us speak Spanish.
No, I am trying to say it, but it's 2 L's, and it's supposed to be a Y, and I can't.
I'll probably get, but I think it's the Three Caballeros. So
yeah,
I'm
trying.
Again, I don't speak Spanish.
It's that thing of I took French lessons at school. Not
I took Latin. That's even more useless. Thank you.
So just looking here. There's quite a few of the things like Giants of the Deep. That was a good one. Again, there were more focused on that. We've got things like decorating Disney Holiday Magic and the weddings shows. We did talk about the wedding shows the other day. So that's pretty cool. Big Hero 6, the series. I started watching a few of them, but I'm looking forward to seeing a few more of them. And also, sort of, again, those, and we've seen them before, but those classic shows from the 80s with the Marvel stuff, like X-Men and Spider-Woman, they're always great stuff to watch.
Yeah, and moving a little bit forward to the 90s, we already knew that the majority of the Disney Afternoon collection was going to make it. The original DuckTales, Darkwing Duck. It was nice to see many of them confirmed on this list. Gargoyles was on the list. Of all things, The Mighty Ducks was on the list, the cartoon, where they were
But the
actually
movie wasn't.
ducks.
But the movie
none
wasn't.
of the movies were.
No, see, this is where the when you start looking through it, going, yeah, there's enough here for a second go.
But if you want hockey movies, they do have Miracle, which is the 1980 Olympic game between Russia and America. So there's that at least.
Newsies, something I've never seen, but a lot of people talk about that one because there's two versions. There's like the Broadway version and the normal version. So that is something.
I didn't actually know that they had done a recording of the Broadway version of it. I knew that there was a Broadway version out there. I've seen ads for it. I did not know that they had a recording of it though. So that's interesting. At least I saw Newsies in like 3rd grade or something. It was one of those days that young kids love when the teacher wheels in the television on the cart with the VCR under it and it's going to be a good day because we watched the Newsies. I remember nothing about this movie. Nothing at all. But I know Christian Bale is in it.
Yes.
A very, very young Christian Bale.
I just spotted here Milo Murphy's Law. I started watching that on TV the other week, and I kind of want to carry on with that one. And another movie I missed, and I saw it on Netflix, and I still missed it, was Queen of Catway, or Catway, which is a movie that Disney released a few years ago, but it didn't really go anywhere. But that was one that was like on the radar, but kept like dropping on and off. So that's definitely gonna be a bit of a movie that's gonna be worth checking out.
Speaking of ones we missed, Pete's Dragon, 2016.
Yes.
And actually, I know I've seen the 1977 version, the animated version. I don't remember it at all. So I'm going to have to watch at least one of those.
Well, I'm going to be honest. See, Pete's Dragon, the original one from the 70s, is probably one of my all-time favorites. I probably have seen that one like 150 times. I had it on video. My family will all attest to the fact that that was the one that I would wear the tape out. So Pete's Dragon, the original one, that is for me. That's like classic. There was another movie that popped up, a recent one called the BFG, Big Friendly Giant, which was put here as Disney, and it's on there. Now, the interesting thing that some people might not be aware of is this is going to be the kind of thing of where it's in the US, but it's not going to be in Europe or etc. because it was released by like a different company. Because over here, it wasn't released as a Disney title. So there's a lot of things like that. Like, for example, we've mentioned before, Titanic. Titanic is a 20th Century Fox title for me, but for you in the US, it wasn't.
I had no idea. Honestly, that's news to me.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the list here. I'm digging deep into the past on this one too. That Darn Cat from 1965. This was a movie that I randomly had on VHS back in the day. I remember almost nothing about it. I know it's criminals with the cat, and the cat has the woman gets kidnapped or something, and she has a watch, and she scratches help into the watch and puts it on the cat like a collar, and that is where my knowledge of the movie ends. Apparently there was a remake in 1997. I had no idea. It's
amazing actually sometimes of how many remakes they made. Of like this whole thing about Disney making remakes and going, it's like you look at this go, this isn't anything new. They've been doing this since the 50s. There's like some movies of like you've done two reboots. Was it The Parent Trap? There's quite a even down to like the Swiss Family Robinsons they rebooted like within like 10 years of the original one.
I mean, not to condone it, but I guess it's not quite as recent a trend as we would like to think. No. I still wouldn't mind if the trend kind of faded off a bit, though.
There was an interesting one that I did spot here was Ice Age: The Great Escape. Was a Ice Age short, obviously an Easter version, and it's like, it's like the only,
because it's the egg escape.
Yeah,
got it.
The thing is, what got me is this: it's like, it's not been a lot of Fox stuff. There wasn't any mention of Blue Sky Studios movies. Other than this, it's the only thing that's slipped in from there. And I'm like, okay, there's a big, wide thing of movies there that they could use. And again, secondary dump, that would make some big hits like Ice Age, etc. But interesting to see that one went in. It's like a random thing, and we go, well, why would you put that in there and not like Ice Age? It just, yeah, that was something that definitely stood out to me.
Yeah, there are quite a few Fox animated, either old hand-drawn traditional ones or newer ones that are just not on the list.
Thumbelina was one that was on the list, of which a lot of people threw that one off. Now, there's one thing that we are going to have to mention here about those Fox movies. On the original 1940s or 30s, the Miracle on 34th Street, on the logo, they've slapped a Disney logo on it. And it was like, that was one of the first, because it was one of the first few tweets that came out. I kind of got everyone going, whoa, are you like, they might even start rebranding. They didn't do that with any of the other ones like Sound of Music or Diary of the Wimpy Kid. But it was like really weird that they've put Disney like on the front of it.
I hadn't noticed that actually. But that is an odd change. Maybe because it's Christmas, maybe because they're expecting people to be more likely to watch it, because Disney Plus will be releasing very close to the Christmas season, and presumably people will be getting subscriptions for Christmas presents, something along those lines. Maybe that was the idea. Otherwise, I don't know.
No. So that was that was an interesting one. Also, the Lion Guard as an animated series. Now, it's very noticeable that in the it's got a Disney Junior logo very much front and center. This has been something that's been going on a lot with their TV series. They've been moving with very front and center, that they've put that logo right at the very top above the name to sort of show off that it's a Disney Junior branded TV series.
Yeah. As opposed to
just Disney.
Yeah, just Disney. I mean, I guess they probably want to make sure that there is a clear distinction between the super young audiences, and adults. Because I saw a couple episodes of Lion Guard when that first came out, and it was definitely, a very low age range that it was aiming for, which is fine. No problem with that at all. But it is good for them to kind of mark that out. Now, whether that's their thinking or if they're just like, Disney Junior is where it showed originally on television. Maybe that's why it's on there.
PJ Masks was one that came up, because wasn't really created by them, but they've obviously licensed it. Having known my nephew, who was PJ Masks crazy, this is a big thing for toddlers and youngsters. The amount of Catboy toys I've had to buy and play with is so that one stood out to me. Going, okay, that's a really good pickup for young kids for that one.
I have no idea what this show is.
That's fine.
None at all.
This is the thing. When it's like, the amount of shows and stuff. He's moved on from PJ Masks. Now he's into Power Rangers, which aren't on the list. They did sell. Disney brought it, and then they sewed it on, so there's not really Power Rangers. An interesting one as well, Descendants. They put Descendants 1 and 2 on, but they didn't put Descendants 3 on. Again, I don't know. I think that one's going to be another big hitter for that funds. Now, Marvel. I just reminded here with Ant-Man. Ant-Man, Avengers Age of Ultron, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 are all now confirmed, which means they've nearly doubled the amount of Marvel movies that are going to be available at launch.
Yeah, not too much of a surprise there. Obviously, the only ones that would be a real surprise if they somehow got the ones that Netflix still had a contract on.
Well, way back at the beginning of the year, they were like, they've only got Iron Man 1, 3, 4, Dark World, and Captain Marvel, and that would be all what was available at launch, and the other ones would be coming in the following year. So it was nice to see a few Marvel movies kind of drop in on that, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few more, again, because they're a bit light on the Marvel side, but that kind of has helped, I think, boost up. There's not quite as of a gap as there was originally going to be.
Right, and the Marvel ones are going to be important for adult audiences as well. Especially, I think, the Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, they've got the first one, but the second one was still pretty well received. Some of the Captain America movies would also do well, especially Winter Soldier. That tends to get batted around as one of the better MCU movies, and having that would definitely make a difference. I think that we will see quite a few Marvel movies in this hypothetical second wave of announcements. Yeah,
I think so too. Again, a lot more like a lot of Disney Channel ones. Again, they can kind of help boost them out. Like you said, it's odd. Like the Muppets, for example, the Muppets Most Wanted, but not the original Muppets from the prequel or the one before that one, which I still haven't seen Most Wanted. I did like the Muppets or Muppets or whatever it was, but I didn't get around to Muppets Most Wanted. It just didn't quite appeal to me. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
It wasn't that it didn't appeal to me. I just kind of never got around to seeing it was in theaters, and then after it was out of theaters, I just kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna check it out here. I do love the Muppets. I'm looking forward to seeing what else we will get with the Muppets, not just the back catalog items, but the new stuff. Still a little bit sad that they canceled that one series, but I do understand why they would have done so.
Yeah. Again, plenty of Marvel animated series here. We've got like Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Assemble. That's all pretty good. Iron Man 3. You know, they've been sort of throwing in there a few more bits and pieces. There again, some more of the Santa Paws and some bits and pieces for kids. I think but there's a lot more. It's like there's another like dog show that a lot of people have been asking for that was missing that Disney Channel put out there. All the Tinkerbell movies. You know, there is just. This was one that really caught my eye, was Crash and Bernstein. I'd never heard of this. And there's this like puppet like doing his teeth outside in a toilet with this kid brushing his teeth. It looks, I thought this was like something like Avenue Q or something. It was just like, what is going on here?
I did see that image. I know what you're talking about. And I was so overwhelmed with the number of things I was seeing, I didn't go back and double check what that was. So what is Crash and Bernstein? Because it looks weird.
I have no idea. I'll have to Google it because it's
I'm gonna Google it right now.
Crash and Bernstein is like, right, what is this? This was one it's a TV series.
I'm quoting from Wikipedia here. Crash and Bernstein is an American live-action television comedy with puppetry, which premiered in October 6, 2012 and ended on August 11, 2014. Etc. Wyatt Bernstein is a boy who lives with his mom and his sisters in Portland, Oregon. It just looks weird. I don't know. I have no idea.
That one was like one of the ones that like really stood out to me. Like, oh, wait, what is that? Again, we've got lots of it's like the Pixar ones. None of the shorts were announced. None of the Pixar short movies were shown off, and like I said, things like Up were missing, but we got things like Brave, which actually just got added to the Netherlands one this week. I don't know why that one was a bit late, but again, I think they're testing the servers. But yeah, Tron Uprising. I know the Tron fans and all the movies and stuff, they were all in there. I really need to watch Tron Uprising. I know it's a series I never watched.
I haven't seen the series either, and I haven't seen the original in a very long time. I only remember bits and pieces of it. I remember like some of the light cycle races, and that's about it. So this will be a good chance to pick up on that again. And then I can watch Legacy again, and maybe it'll make more sense this time with a better memory of the original.
We said about the Muppets. Actually, I've just noticed there is actually the Muppets banner up there. So I have just noticed that one was in the list. Again, it was so easy to get missed.
Yeah, and also some of the sorting gets kind of messed up because some of the Muppets movies are Muppets Presents Treasure Island, Muppets in Space, whatever, and then other ones are the Muppets movie, the Muppets. Yeah,
there was the one that did catch my eye was something like Teen Spirit, which was, I think it was like something. There was a lot of like freeform original like ABC Family movies. That kind of got put onto Freeform, and you can watch them through there. So there's been a few of them kind of drip fed in as well, which I thought was interesting to see, because I wonder what was going to be happening with all those like Freeform movies and ABC Family movies that have kind of just been sort of on that system.
Yeah, I don't know much about these movies, but can I say, going through the list of like the movies that they bring in over from Freeform and then the old Disney channels, I've got to give them credit for the puns in the titles and the play on words, like Teen Spirit. It's a common phrase here in the States. You know, you hear it a lot at high schools, and it's like, all right, we're just gonna run with it. What do you mean Teen Spirit? And that's not the only one. They've got tons of movies in their back catalog that are just really bad wordplay. But I commend them for their commitment to it.
There was one, Quince or something. That one got a lot of attention for the wrong reasons of like, the artwork doesn't work very well when we're looking at it now, but I'm not going to say any more on that one. There are some, again, Pirates of the Caribbean. They included all of them, but they didn't include the most recent one. I'm not going to try and Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Right.
in the Europe we had a different name for it. It's like Salivar's Revenge or something. Also interesting that they actually put the little Touchstone Movies banner in the banner on them, on the Pirates ones, which kind of to show that they didn't do that with Fox, strangely.
Maybe they plan on keeping the Touchstone brand alive or reviving it. I don't know.
Fox stuff was very odd. They've removed any mention of Fox on the logos. Some things have got like the logo in there, but some things haven't. The Fox stuff, it was a little bit light on the Fox side of things, and I can't help but wonder if there are a number of reasons for that. First off, they may be being a bit selective of what they're putting in there, but I'm wondering if Disney are going through, they've got to go through them, check that they're all okay, do maybe like closed captions, check the subtitles, check the audio things, maybe even convert them to make sure they're on their system. And basically they've got to go for that entire back catalog like one by one and almost reevaluate it.
Yeah, maybe not even reevaluate. I don't even know if they've got a standardization on this or not. Honestly, it's not the kind of question that would come up, I suppose, in like an official Q&A, but I would be kind of curious. Do they have an actual plan, or is it just kind of let's phase it out in cycles, and we'll just kind of throw darts at a board and pick which ones? Because
there's a lot of stuff that they could pull in from like the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And I'm wondering if they're going through like each one, like they probably have to, of like going, right, we own this property now. We now need to make sure it conforms to all of our standards before we can put it out on our systems. And there's a lot of movies, and they probably are just cherry picking the main ones at the minute. But I imagine there's a lot more to it that we don't know about. It's not just a case of going, oh, well, we've got to check it on. Maybe they, look what happened with like Adventures in Babysitting from the 1980s. It had a single swear word in it. I was watching like the Incredible Dr. Poe last night, and he was doing an autopsy on a horse. Now, I don't know in the original one whether or not they showed it, but in this version I was watching, they blurred it all out. Are they going to do blurring? Are they going to cut things that, or are they going to cut out the swearing? We don't really know too much yet. I mean, I don't even know if it was included in the original. It might not have been. It might have been a bit too graphic. But I think that's the kind of thing that we're going to see maybe over time of going, there's a reason why everything's taking a little bit longer. But the Fox stuff, essentially they've only really had it for 6 months now. And they may be doing the ones, but there could be logistic reasons why everything just isn't being dropped at once, because there was a lot of old stuff that I think would make very interesting Disney. It'd be, so many of those classic 40s and 50s and 30 movies that would be really a good way of building out that catalog.
Yeah, and I have to assume that, especially with back catalog items, they are not just going to be like, oh, we own this, throw it up. They've got people probably watching them to make sure that things don't slip through, like, say, a horse autopsy. Yeah. I don't know if it was originally censored or not. I've never seen this show, but that might be an awkward thing to have to explain to a kid what's going on with that horse. Yeah. So I can understand why they would censor that. And you don't know what's in some of these movies and shows from the 60s and 70s anymore, because stuff that was okay then isn't okay now. Stuff that wasn't okay then is perfectly fine now. It's all really weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's things like smoking and swear words and type of, things sometimes don't date as well as, and they are kind of editing stuff out. I mean, I know with Toy Story 2, they've removed one of the scenes at the end with Stinky Pete inside the box with some of the Barbie girls. They've removed that because that doesn't, they are going back and they are reconning, I mean, the amount of it's difficult things like things like even just down to smoking. I don't really like the idea of them editing out stuff and blurring things and recutting it. I don't really like that. I think it's like that at that time that was acceptable, whereas now it's not. But that goes to a lot of things. But I do think Disney are probably going through, because a PG-13 now is very different to a PG from like 1960 or 1970. There were some different kind of parental things going on there.
Yeah, and like I said, sometimes it goes in weird directions. Sometimes the things that they were perfectly acceptable in a G or a PG movie back then are not acceptable now. None of these movies, and I'm not going to actually drop any examples because I don't want to go into it, but I could name a couple. But yeah, I'm sorry, you were talking about the Toy Story outtake with Stinky Pete, and honestly, I can understand why they took that out, but that one outtake was hilarious.
Yeah.
So that's actually, not to go off track, I really wish Pixar would go back to doing those. The outtakes were some of the best parts of the movies.
Yeah, they were pretty cool. And I got a little bit of, like, this is like one of those things of Disney fans would probably be like, what? But there was a lot of this Sweet Life movie, Sweet Life TV series. And I never knew this. I'd never seen this show before. So I look at it and go, that's the kid from Riverdale. And then it's realized, oh, he's a twin. I'd like that entire part of his like life. I had no idea. So I was judging him on being him, not connected to a movie, nothing connected to Disney. So it's kind of quite interesting. Sometimes I've been on these like Disney Channel stuff of like seeing some of the like stars we're seeing now of where they did get their start that maybe I wasn't watching that content that I didn't know about, kind of thing.
That's true. It is always kind of fun to see where people that we consider stars now got their start from. I was like talking about Christian Bale earlier. You know, Newsies wasn't his first movie, I don't think, but still, that was one of his first. And now he's like a super big name actor. He's been in Terminator and Batman and all sorts of stuff. And it's like, but he was also in Newsies.
Yeah, no, it is quite cool. And also, you know, where a lot of them have come on there. Just going down the list again, well, Tinkerbell movies, a lot of like camp rock and bits and pieces. There's some really weird movies, you know. One that I am looking forward to watching is something like Waking Sleeping Beauty, which was like a documentary. And there was another one. There was another documentary, Frank and Ollie or something like that. That looked quite interesting.
Frank and Ollie. That was more like a docudrama, wasn't it, or a biopic?
I've never seen it. I saw.
Oh, this is from 1995. Never mind. I thought this was the Stan and Ollie movie from last year. Never mind. I was confused. That's
no, that one's not very good. I only watched that recently. Diary of the Wimpy Kid. You know, one of the Fox titles again. No mention of Fox anywhere. Starting to wonder what their plan is for the Fox, and it definitely feels like a lot. You know, that thing of having those 5 banners. 20th Century Fox. It's not being. They are sliding anything that fits from Fox into the Disney banner. It does feel like they are moving stuff away from that branding. It's just how it's looking to me. Just what they're doing.
It's going a little faster than I expected it would, but we always knew it was going to happen. I mean, let's be fair. Disney are the kings of branding. They know what to put the brand on, and the brand is everything to them. That's why they're so protective of it. So moving faster than I expected, but yeah, the Fox name will be gone within a handful of years. I mean, it'll still be in the history books, but you're not going to see the branding on most things at that point.
I also wonder if they've got to move, because I can't quite remember if they've had to license it from the Fox Entertainment Company, and I just feel like they're going to want to get away from that Fox branding over time. A great series I think you're going to want to watch was that Bizarre Dinosaurs.
I love dinosaurs.
National Geographic, that one's going to be there. Again, lots more like just random. It's like Trial of the Panda. Like that one just came out of nowhere. That is like, I've got no idea what that one. And it's kind of like got Castle Hero Pictures Limited underneath of it. It's like really weird. Like they probably have a rule that has to be in there, but very strange that was just like made the list.
Yeah, the documentaries are pretty easy to put onto the list, so that's probably why it's there. Question: was it Trial or Trail? It's Trail on the webpage.
Trail.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
Because those are two very, very different things, and the story arc will be very different depending on which one we're going for.
And also, there was a few concerts, like the Jonas Brothers and Miley Cyrus. There was some concert experiences put in there, which, again, you know, this is the thing on the Disney Life app. They actually put all the music videos from all like the Disney Channel stuff. Like, you know, like at the minute, there's like this Halloween one, and they've got some different music. And I'm wondering if they're going to do that as well, of like utilizing, because they did it with Disney Life. So I'm there going, it's like, it makes sense. But, you know, it would really fill out that. And I can imagine people watching them on like a list and just keep them on things. So I'm interested to see if they do put that music on there, because they've done that already. 2 series that did catch my eye was X-Men, Wolverine and the X-Men and X-Men Origin, X-Men Evolutions. Yeah, those two shows got in there. You know, they're not on the trial in the Netherlands. I was wondering if they were going to be in there.
Yep. I never saw Wolverine and the X-Men, but X-Men Evolution was a pretty solid series for the time. I don't know how well it's aged. It's been a long time since I've seen it. But it gives you options for what to watch, which is always welcome. That puts 3 X-Men cartoons that you can pick from, including the 1992 series, which is good because none of the movies are there.
No, there was again. Is that going to be something that they can use? I'm still feeling with those that they're going to utilize them at a later date. I feel like that's like, because I really think it would help boost out their Marvel branding of like what they've got in there. I think, you know, if they could put in 10 to 15 X-Men movies, that would really help like mix that up a bit. And but again, they might be like thinking, right, we've got to double check and make sure everything's okay on them, edit them down a bit. But yeah.
They might also consider putting those on Hulu just to avoid confusion as to whether or not they're Marvel cinematic movies.
Well,
but
they've actually got like a Marvel Cinematic Universe like section, and then they've got like other stuff, but they don't consider MCU, even though they are. So I'm wondering if they put it in a different collection. I think they're going to be in there. I honestly do. I think they're going to want to boost up that Marvel collection as much as, and it might not necessarily be at launch.
What about the Fantastic Four? Now I know they've got the cartoon series from the 90s on here, but neither of the movies, actually none of the 3 movies are on there. Not exactly a big gap that people are clamoring for, but
Daredevil,
but they're still not there.
You know, the Daredevil's movie as well.
Elektra's not there, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there which I think, you know, they can add later to bulk it out. And I think they will do that eventually. But I don't know. It's, again, they might be just trying to fill up the void of like what they've got at the minute. Again, there's some like really weird, like ones that caught people's attention were things like Dan in Real Life, you know, like, and was it, there are some really strange movies that people don't necessarily assume and connect with Disney.
Yeah, but you know, when you've been making movies for what, 70, 80, 90 years, you tend to rack up some oddballs here and there, especially when you factor in all of the Disney Channel movies, which they can get weird.
Yes.
Just some of the concepts, you don't even need to see the movies. You look at the concept and you go, someone was reaching real deep on that one.
Yeah, there were some really odd ones. It's like things like Cinderella 3, A Twisted Time. I mean, you know, that's like, I'm glad they're there. I'm glad that people got access to them. But again, they haven't got the new live action version of Cinderella on there, or Beauty and the Beast. Again, do you see where it's like when you start looking, there's so much stuff, and you start going, hold on, that's missing, that's missing, that's missing, that's missing, and you start going, yeah, this is enough to get some attention the second time around.
Yeah, I can see why they would hold some of these things back. They're not the major titles, but they are things that will generate interest, and yeah, they have to be.
Yeah. Oh, they got Fantastic for the animated
cartoon series.
Yeah. Cheetah, again, some really like the Replacements. I'd never heard of them before.
The Replacements. It sounds familiar.
And also Garfield. Yeah, I was going to say Garfield, A Tale of Two Kitties. Why have we got Garfield 2, but no Garfield?
To be honest, I don't know if they have the rights to it, but the old Garfield cartoon from the 90s was also, maybe it's nostalgia glasses, but I really liked that show back then. It had a very deadpan humor, probably from the presentation of Garfield himself. But yeah, I noticed that one too. It was like Garfield, A Tale of Two Cities. Really? But not Garfield.
Oh, right. Here's another one. The Shaggy Dog. They've remade that one like 3 times over time.
I think wasn't Tim Allen in?
Yeah, he was the last one.
Yeah. But they don't have his show on there.
It's odd because I always think it's like that kind of thing of like Home Improvement would be a great and things like like that, and Malcolm in the Middle, and Modern Family, those kind of things. Because apparently stuff is starting to be removed from Hulu. Things like Gravity Falls, they've been removed, and but Boy Meets World. I think Home Improvement would be a perfect addition for this.
That, and then he also was doing I can't remember the name of it right now, but there was a show he was doing on, I think, ABC for a number of years here in the last couple of years. Like he was a manly man growing up in a household of women, or he was raising a household of women, something like that. I don't remember. It got like 4 or 5 seasons though, and people were very sad when it eventually faded out a couple of years ago. I've never seen it, but if it was on ABC, that means it's Disney, which would suggest that it would probably end up here at some point.
Yeah, this is one that kind of jumped at me, was Valiant. Because it's got like the Disney logo on it, and I'm like going, huh? Because
is that the bird one?
That's the pigeon one.
Yeah,
because here in the UK, it wasn't released by Disney; it was released by another company, and it wasn't a Disney movie. And I'm like, hold on, are they like reconning? Like, did they buy this one Fox? It's like, oh, okay, no, it was a Disney movie in the US, but not. So sometimes there are. This is where some of those regional differences are going to come in of deals that they've made in the past, of like what they can do and what they can't. That was just again something that stood out to me. We've also got that movie that you loved, Herbie Fully Loaded. See, that one's popped.
The people listening to this podcast won't understand why until they hear the Thanksgiving episode, which we already recorded.
Yes. I just forgot. Oh, yeah, we had the time jump there. So then we got quite a few. Yes, this is when we're really getting. Apparently, Millions was was a Fox movie, which was apparently, I haven't seen this one, but I saw quite a few people talking about that one being like a Danny Boyle movie and being a bit different. I've never heard of it.
Anything by Danny Boyle is going to be different, no matter how you.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, we could go down this list, and I probably wouldn't recognize maybe 80% of these movies.
No. But this is the thing. The thing is, every single one has got their little fan and the little nostalgic goggles on, and each one pulls on those different strings of like, you go, what's that? No idea. But if someone go, ooh, I want to watch that because I haven't seen that since I was a kid, and or how I used to watch that, and there is going to be that thing of different kids and different people are going to want to watch different movies. Like for us, like, the shows, the movies like from the 70s and the 80s are going to be much more appealing to us. But, if you got a teenager now, you might not going to want it. And if you're older than us, they will be looking back at the 30s and the 40s content, and that's all part of it.
Yeah. And I, like, for myself, That Darn Cat, it's not something I would immediately jump out and say, hey, you need to watch this movie. But for myself, it's something that I watched growing up. Similarly, The Cat from Outer Space, that's going to be on here as well. Not a movie that I would immediately tell people they have to go and watch on Disney Plus. It's not a top of the list item, and in fact, I'll probably watch it and be like, "Why did I ever like this?" But I don't know. Maybe I'll like it. Hopefully, it holds up. But I think everybody watching this, everybody looking out for Disney Plus, looking forward to that launch in November, have their version of The Cat from Outer Space, that movie that they get really excited about, even though they know, no, this isn't something I would necessarily tell people immediately go out and watch it. Now, if you're, bored one evening and you can't figure it out, maybe give it a try. And if you don't like it, you watch 15 minutes of it and you watch something else.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of like, there was one movie that really kind of stood out to me and I'm just trying to see what it was 3 days. Was this like random? It looked, I've never heard of it, and I'm just looking at it. It was a TV movie. It's like, I'm just trying to see who is that it. Yeah, it was like a TV movie from years ago. I've never ever heard of it, but I'm just trying to see who made it. But
what's it called?
3 days.
3 days.
It was made in 2004. It was a Saban Entertainment movie.
Saban, the guys who do the Power Rangers.
Yes, because they brought them out a few years ago. So they are reaching into other back catalogs of seeing like anything that fits is going up on Hulu and Disney Plus at the minute. It's,
I've never heard of The Emperor's New School. I knew about The Emperor's New Groove and Kronk's New Groove. The Emperor's New School, that one's it's a TV show apparently.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of this, but now I'm kind of like, well, I like the movies. Maybe I should check this out, see if it's any good.
Yeah,
there might be a reason I've never heard of it though.
No, there's a lot of like those movies and stuff like Luck of the Irish and stuff like that I've just never heard of. But again, everyone's got those deep cuts that they like the look of. Like Xenon was something that was very. A lot of people mentioning Xenon. I never saw it.
I don't think I ever saw it, but I remember seeing ads for it. It was a Xenon girl from 20-something century or something like that.
Yeah.
It was a light sci-fi show. I do remember seeing ads for it. I remember they pushed it pretty hard back in the day. So cool. I'm glad that, Xenon Girl of the 21st Century and Xenon the Zequel and then Xenon Z3. So they're all there. Enjoy.
It's what got me was the one for The Little Mermaid 2 Return to the Sea. Like, I didn't even know they made that one. It's like, doesn't even look like Ariel. It's like, that must be their kid. And like, okay, well, it's like,
hey,
that one.
The late 90s and the early 2000s were not a good time for Disney.
No, there is some. It's like what got me was, and I saw this come up in the video one, and it was Miracle in Lane 2. And I don't know why, but I go, well, why have they not put Miracle in Lane on there? And it's like, no, then it makes.
I had the exact same reaction. I was like, wait, this doesn't make sense. And in case anyone wondering, it's a boxcar derby race with Frankie Muniz.
And they're giving it away because at the front he started there look like with the trophy. But it was just, I was like, well, why have we got Miracle in Lane 2 but not Miracle in Miracle? And then it's like, oh yeah, no, I realized what it is. Again, when you got this, there was just tweet after tweet after tweet. I'd never heard of that before, but that was one of those kind of cool things.
Yeah, it's kind of fun just seeing these movies, even if I'd never planned on seeing it. Like I'm not going to see Miracle in Lane 2. I can't imagine a situation where I'm so deep into Disney Plus. Like I've seen literally everything else. Let's watch Miracle. I would probably watch an MCU movie or a Star Wars movie again rather than that. But it's there, and I'm not trying to disparage anyone who actually likes that movie, has seen it, thinks it's really good, and they're happy it's on the list. I am thrilled that the movies that you guys want are on this list. And if the movies that you want aren't on this list, I am pulling for that you get what you're looking for. I want everyone to have the movies they enjoy, even if they're obscure and you are the only person who watches it.
One that did throw me off was Annie. Was because it was Disney's Annie, and it was like obviously a remake, and I've only seen the original one. I'm going, well, hold on, what? And then it's realizing, and now I saw it in the video again. I'm going, yeah, that's not the Annie I remember. That was a remake that I didn't even know they made. So,
I assume it's Little Orphan Annie, based on.
No, it's just Annie, but it's got like what's her name? Kathy Bates in it as. Yeah, it's
Misery?
It's just okay. Really just caught me off guard. I'm going, wait, that wasn't the movie I was expecting. I mean, we're still only in the 90s. Johnny Army, we got there's a lot of really weird, wacky movies in here.
There's going to be, we could make a living, a hypothetical living off of just going through and picking obscure movies and just being like, all right, here's this movie, you're never going to watch it, but here's what it's about. Alley Cat Strike. There we go. Yeah. There's one. Avalon High.
Yeah.
Bambi 2. I'm not about to watch Bambi 2. Sorry, guys. But Bambi 1 is Bambi.
I mean, there is that kind of thing of like, there is a kind of thing of, even if we did almost a Disney Plus in review where we went through every movie, I mean, it would even at once a day, it would take us nearly 2 years to get through them all. And once a week, we'd be set for the until we retire.
We'll be in our retirement homes, just kind of cranking out about Before the Flood. We'll be talking about Before the Flood in 72 years. I just noticed Bambi's not on the list. Bambi 2 is on the list, but
No,
Bambi 1 is not.
Bambi is on the list. It wasn't.
Well, it's not on the text list.
No, that was the one that I did spot that yesterday and needed to edit it.
So,
but that one there was, it's like Brave Little Toaster to the rescue. People then go on when they wanted to watch the Brave Little Toaster. I've never seen this, but it's apparently one of those shows that people want to watch.
The Brave Little Toaster, I think, was by John Lasseter back in the day. It was by a precursor to the Pixar company. It's one of his first credits. Apparently, it's pretty dark too. So,
I know.
I've never seen it, but it's on the list.
I know one that caught people's attention was Kazam with Shaq. I think that was like a Fox movie, like a random popped in there. People were like, eh?
I think this is one of those movies that starts the origin of people thinking that there was a Shazam movie with I don't know. There's this thing where people remember there being a movie called Shazam. Obviously not the one from a couple of years ago, but this was back in the 90s with, I can't remember if it was like Ice-T or one of those guys, but they were convinced that there was this movie called Shazam. It never existed. No. It doesn't exist. But there is this collective memory of it. And I think Kazam is part of it because the name is very similar and it's around the same time frame.
One that did jump out to me here was While You Were Sleeping with Sandra Bullock, because and there was things like Three Men and a Little Late. There are a few touchstone movies in here to help boost it out. I think they need more of these, but it's glad to see something like them kind of slid in there.
Sorry, I was just looking it up. It was Sinbad, who was supposedly played Shazam in a 1990s movie. Doesn't exist. Never existed. But people remember it, including myself.
Oh, so just notice here the Spider-Man animated series from the 90s is on the list. So
good. That was a good Spider-Man series.
That was the
actually.
Best
I think of the animated Spider-Mans, I think it is my favorite. Spider-Man Unlimited, which is on the list. The first several seasons were very good. I think it actually no. Sorry, this is Spider-Man Unlimited was the continuation of Spider-Man the series, the 1990. I was thinking of the one from a couple of years ago, which I don't know if that's on the list.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Ultimate Spider-Man, yes, and it is on the list. The first couple of seasons of it were quite good. I think it went off the rails after a couple of seasons, but still solid.
Yeah, again, you got Sister Act here, you got Bonkers, Hocus Pocus, all the big ones here. Interesting as well, The Sandlot. That was a Fox one. They're going to be remaking that into a new movie or series. So kind of good to see them kind of throw again a bit more of the Fox stuff up on there.
That one's kind of a one that you would expect, though. There's a very big cult following for The Sandlot. There are some quotes from the movie that still get tossed out fairly frequently. So I can understand why that would be in there. I'm still not sure how I feel about them remaking that one, though.
No,
we'll see.
Yeah, a Turner and Hooch, one of my all-time favorite classic movies. I used to love watching that one. That was great to see that one on the list.
That was Tom Hanks, right?
Yeah.
That was the one where Pixar took a scene from that and they animated it using the newfangled computer technology, and that was what sold Tom Hanks on doing Toy Story way back in the day. It's an extra on the Toy Story DVD. It's worth watching. It's just the audio from the movie, and they've interposed it on top of toys, and it's actually really funny, even in the different context.
Another one of my classic movies I watched when I was a kid, Flight of the Navigator. That's been confirmed.
That was a good one. Yeah, I haven't seen that in forever, but that was a really good movie. It had amazing special effects for the time. Yeah, I don't know how well they've aged.
I just remember that being such a powerful movie growing up as a kid, of time travel and the fact of the effect of going forward in time and the effects on your family and them all growing up. And that I remember that being a really powerful time travel thing, because it didn't shy away from the fact that it was hard on everybody of him being missing that long.
Oh yeah, it was not a happy, touchy feely movie for a good part of it. It's worth watching.
Definitely,
maybe not with young kids though.
No, well, yeah, I did.
It's got.
Yeah, we watched it as kids. We're fine.
You're British. You guys have a your kids have a stronger tolerance for dark stuff than Americans do. Your kid stories are dark.
Yes. Oh, this was something that got me the other day. Was there's a side note. There's this, apparently Sony are doing like this Cinderella movie, and there was this whole argument going on in the Facebook group of like, oh, they haven't got the rights to this, and like people going, yeah, it's a classic story, and like quite a few of us were putting in the things going, you know, so many of the Disney classics, Disney didn't create. Disney don't own you know, it's like they're bringing out these 50p pieces in the UK, and the newspapers and stuff are doing all these articles about how they're Disney. It's like, no, it's Aladdin, Dick Whittington, Cinderella, you know, Robert. You know, it's like, no, they're just classic stories, and it's like there's a lot of people that think that Disney have managed to convince people into thinking that they actually own these characters and they've got the rights to them and all the rest of it, and it's like. It's amazing the power of Disney's like suggestion that that they own those characters.
It's always funny when people who encounter these stories first as Disney movie, like say The Little Mermaid, and then they go back and they encounter the original versions of the stories, and they're like, "What? This isn't right. What? Ariel turns into sea foam? What the heck is going on?" and like. Cinderella, the stepsisters are cutting off their heels so they can fit into the glass slipper. And you're like, this is not the story I know. But those were the original versions of the story. And yeah, Disney has done an amazing job, for better or worse, of kind of cleaning up these classics and making them their own. But yeah, they don't own these stories at all. And other companies are more than capable of telling their own versions. And in fact, you know, you'll see alternate versions. I remember when I was a kid, we went to get Aladdin from the Blockbuster.
Yeah.
And there were two Aladdins. There was Disney's Aladdin, and there was a very clearly, even to a kid, I was like, they spent like $10 on this movie. And it's just it's a cash grab for you know, grandmother or grandfather who wants to buy their kid you know, that Aladdin movie that they're like, oh well, yeah, this is clearly the Aladdin movie, and then, you know, ripping them off. They still do it now. You know, you get the Transmorphers instead of the Transformers or whatever.
GoBots. It's amazing of like with things like that. Oh, I've just seen on this list a movie which never knew existed, and I know it caught a little bit of social wind, was Fuzzbucket.
What? No, this one's a new one for me. I don't know.
It's like some weird looking kid in a outfit that that one was one that caught everyone's attention as being a little bit odd.
I'm looking at the picture and I can see why. That is horrifying.
It's just like it's like the Leprechaun.
It's got John Vernon in it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there is some strange ones in here. Especially as we get back into like the 70s and stuff like that, things really start changing in terms of what they're putting out there. And, you know, there's a lot of classic movies. I think they could add more, but it's difficult because I think they're in that line of how far, you know, there's like a lot of documentaries stuff that they've put in from the 40s and the 50s. And it's like, I'd rather they put them in there and have them available. And there's a lot of people as well kind of going, when Netflix has got a lot of stuff, well, Disney are putting in a lot of back catalogue stuff, which is really going to help stand out. Let's be honest. I mean, it's definitely going to make something like Apple TV. This is where the difference comes in of when a company comes in. I mean, I think even like when Comcast and HBO Max can do this similar kind of thing, you'd be amazed at what content they own.
I will say in Apple's favor, they did finally announce a series, or I was like, oh, I kind of want to see that. It took a while.
They announced the series.
They finally announced a series that I want to see. It's the continuation of the Band of Brothers and the Pacific kind of unofficial trilogy where they'll do the Mighty Seventh. I can't remember. It's the Air Force. It's the bombing missions over Berlin, which has nothing to do with Disney. But I'm just like, Apple has finally announced something that I actually care about.
Well, my plan is to try, because between me and my wife having iPhones, and they're usually about a year apart, so I'm hoping that I can try and work it out that if we could use our, like, when her ones expires, then we use it. Was like, I don't know how it's going to work, because apparently you get like when you buy an Apple product, you get a year's worth of Apple TV. So I've got to look into how this works, but I'm hoping in some ways that, like, I'm not going to pay for it, but if it comes with my phone or with her phone, then we might, or I'll wait for everything until I upgrade my phone next year. Do it that way.
You never know.
Yeah. It's like Amazon Prime.
It is. Well, yeah, it kind of is. And it would be kind of nice if Disney had something similar going on, but obviously they're not hardware developers. So I don't think we'll see that. On the flip side, you do get to at least enjoy Disney Plus if you stay at some Disney resorts on property, things like that. And I bet they'll expand that over the year to include almost all the properties. Maybe not the All-Stars, the lowest tier ones at Walt Disney World, but they should, honestly, because it's perfect branding. And you come back from the parks and you're like, ooh, I really want to watch Beauty and the Beast or WALL-E or something that you saw at the parks. And I'm always like, I'm excited to watch Disney classic movies whenever I go there. And that's we'll see what they have planned. Maybe they'll get over their little fight with Amazon, and you can buy Fires with Disney Plus already installed. Who knows?
Yes, but nevertheless, just go for it again. There was another Fox movie that kind of caught my eye. Was Journey to the Center of the Earth. That was like a really old movie.
So not the
Brendan Fraser version.
Was it Brendan Fraser? Or was it The
Rock? The guy from The Mummy was in a remake, wasn't it?
That's right, he was. Yeah.
That's where my mind went to.
Yeah, no, I thought The Rock was attached to some similar project.
To the Center of the Earth. I'm sure there was. There was the Brendan Fraser version. I
remember reading Journey to the Center of the Earth as a kid and just thinking, like, the real hero of this book is the Sherpa that they have coming with us, because he's the only one who's keeping a head about him while everybody else is getting attacked by dinosaurs.
Let's have a look at The Rock's movie history, because he's done a lot.
He has.
There was definitely there was Journey to a Mysterious Island.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
It is a sequel to Journey to the Center of the Earth. So yes, he was in one, but that one was created by New Line Cinema and released by Warner Brothers. That one.
So no, that's not coming to Disney Plus.
No, I'll be coming to HBO Max.
Probably, honestly.
Yeah. But yeah, so again, lots more stuff. Yeah, Bambi's just popped up there. Swiss Family Robinson. They obviously started everything off with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but there's a lot more Fox movies before then that they might want to kick in. But one heck of a list. It's that kind of thing, isn't it? Of, like, as we said, we've gone further. You start noticing what's missing, but when they were tweeting it out, you weren't. There was just kind of, oh my, yay, oh yay. It's like, what a heck of a list to start things off with.
It certainly is easy now with the whole list in front of you to pick stuff and go, oh, well, that's not on there, and that's not on there, and I really wish they had that. But at the same time, you can go down this list, just load it up on what's on DisneyPlus.com. It's the first link on there right now, and you can just go down the list and go, I want to see that, I want to see that. Oh, I remember loving that, and that was kind of I could skip that one. But one of the things I'm going to be doing this week during some downtime at work will probably be literally just that, going down the list and kind of checking off the stuff that I want to make sure I don't forget about. Because obviously, you pick 50 items. Let's just hypothetically, you pick 50 items. You're not going to watch 50 items the first day. Even if you physically could, you're not going to watch 50 items. 50 items might take you a couple of weeks. It might take you a couple of years, depending on how long you view things. Some of these shows have multiple seasons, and we're talking like old kid cartoons that might have 50, episodes, 60, 70, 80, 100 episodes. The Simpsons has, 300 something episodes?
700?
700? What? Oh, that's right. The South Park just broke 300, and Simpsons was out before South Park. So
Simpsons were at 30 seasons of 24 episodes ago.
Yeah, that's a lot. I'm not going to do the math in my head. It's too late for math. But you include The Simpsons, and that's already quite a bit of time
Yeah.
on there. So,
but the other thing as well, I think they have smashed their forecast. I think they've already beaten what they think they were going to put out there in year 4 or year 5 of like 500 movies and 10,000 episodes. It feels like we're nearly at that already.
it really does. Although I remember when they first announced those numbers, we're like, they're underselling it right now, so it'll look more impressive when they actually announce the full thing.
It just, I mean, like we said before, you know, you put 700 episodes of The Simpsons in there, it whacks up your episode count quite a bit. It's just, you know,
600. Episode 600 was in 2016, which means 700 should have been this year.
Yeah, it's definitely there's just a lot of stuff on there, and it's just gonna keep growing. But I think I do look at the list, and I can see the point of view of if you aren't maybe a Disney full-on fan, that you're looking at this list going, oh, there's not a lot there for me. If you're only wanting, say, for example, The Mandalorian and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier shows, and you're only, you know, I can see how people are going to look at it and go, yeah, it's full of kid stuff. Disney have got to try and get over that. And the only way they can get over that is putting more on there and building it up. But the price point represents it. But that is a massive collection of content. And like you said, people are going to be able to go back, watch old stuff. It depends really on how much old stuff you want to watch. The weekly drops, I think, of new episodes, I think is going to be interesting. You know, I mean, you think of just like, I was thinking of this the other day of, if you look at like launch titles of, you know, Mandalorian, Encore, you've got High School Musical, you've got World According to Jeff Goldblum, you've got maybe 101 Dalmatian Street, you've got also One Day at Disney, you've also got the Imagineering story, there's a few other bits and pieces. Now, with them dropping them weekly, that means that we're going to continue to be getting new episodes right through till probably at least January for just like initial launch stuff, maybe even longer. You know, I think like One Day at Disney is like 50 episodes or something like that, because they're only quite short. But you've got at least 2 to 3 months when it first comes out of there being like these new episodes dropping weekly, and I'm sure there'll be then a second wave of stuff starting in after Christmas, and then, you know, you'll start seeing that coming forward, because at the minute they're just focusing on everything at launch. But you put in the new shows and you put in things, and like I say, it's what, $6 a month. If you did the 3-year deal, it works out barely $1 a month. Like, are you getting your value out of this for, say, even if you say you're subscribing at $6.99 a month plus tax, $2 a month or $2 a week? Are you getting your value for $2 a week? You know, if you watch one TV show, that would be the same price as buying it on Amazon Prime, you know, or renting a movie. I mean, you know, the price point is very, very competitive. But I know I'll get my use out of it because there's so much stuff here that I want to watch. But it is, to me, a very good system with this weekly drop and this massive back catalog.
Yeah. Even if we weren't doing this podcast, I would definitely get my money out of this. I will say, if you're in it only for The Mandalorian, maybe some of the Marvel shows, there's really no pressure to get them at launch unless you're super afraid of spoilers. Wait a couple of months, let them build up the catalog of items that you want to see. Subscribe for a month or two, watch what you want, let the catalog build up again. You're not locked into an annual contract if you don't want to. Obviously, Disney would like you to have an annual contract. They would like you to keep giving them money. But, you know, if you're looking at this list going, I already own these DVDs, I'm not interested in kids' movies, I'm not interested in seeing stuff I've already seen. I know there are people who are like, once I've seen a movie, I don't need to see it again. And sure, fine. That's why monthly subscription fees are a thing. And I would wager a lot of the television shows, just like Netflix does, will eventually work their way onto DVD if you would prefer to watch them that way.
I also think more so when like the Marvel stuff starts kicking in properly next year, of like, because they're not really kicking off till like August, September next year with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But I imagine like when you start getting 6 to 8 episodes of that, and that's then going to probably then lead into Rogue One prequel, and then that's going to then lead into maybe like WandaVision and Loki. When you start getting those series, that's when you're going to start. if they spread them out far enough and they only ever have one of those Star Wars or Marvel series like on at once, and at 6 to 8 episodes or 10 episodes, they could stretch that out quite a bit for people going, oh, well, the next Marvel show starts in 6 weeks. Oh, there's a new Star Wars movie series. I'll watch that. They drag that out enough. They can stretch out those kind of customers from subscribing just for those TV shows. And I think people will be subscribed just for the MCU shows alone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And HBO's been doing this for decades at this point, too, where it'd be like, all right, I'm subscribing just for The Sopranos. But then The Sopranos season ends, and you're like, oh, there's this other show. And then that show leads into another show, leads into another show. And you have this constant feed of, I'll just keep the subscription just a little bit longer. And then Sopranos season 3 comes on, and you're back into the cycle again. And they're doing it right now. Obviously, you know, they've got stuff like Westworld. They've got all these shows that people want to watch just going back to back. And I think Disney looked at that and like, well, this is why we're doing it this way. You'll get The Mandalorian, and as soon as The Mandalorian is done, we've got another show to keep you hooked.
Yeah. It's like people go, well, what do you mean I can't watch? I want to watch the whole season on the first day and then unsubscribe. That's exactly, it's like, you know, I saw that tweet and I go, that's your question. Your whole thing says why they wouldn't do that. It's just like the thing of Netflix jumping in for the week for subscribe and watch the whole of Stranger Things for the weekend and jump back out again is the reason why everyone's looking at that system and going, it's just not, it doesn't work. It works from the point of view of everyone going, this is great, everything at once, but everyone realized looking at it there were some major problems with that structure. And even I remember when I was talking to Casey about this, from what's on Netflix a while ago, he said the trouble is with that system, say they did drop the whole Mandalorian on day one, and the following week everyone's going, well, what's new? Yeah, that was last week. What's new now? I need to know I've already watched all of them. There's nothing for me now. I'm leaving, and that's why they're doing it this way.
Yeah, and I can see it both ways. It's fun to be able to watch an entire show in either a binge or maybe like an episode or two a day over the course of a couple of weeks. To have that instant fix and to not have to worry about cliffhangers for too long, things of that nature. There's something very appealing about going, ooh, what happens next, and just hitting the next button and going into it. Personally, I kind of prefer the week-to-week thing where you kind of get to mull over each episode just a little bit and kind of maybe play a little bit of what's about to happen. Can I figure out where they're going with this? I will say stay off of fan sites and Reddits and stuff like that because it gets militant there sometimes. And sometimes like Westworld, they get spoiled because everyone figures out all the context clues and it's like, oh, well, that wasn't a major surprise. We knew about it 4 weeks ago. I was like, well, I didn't, but whatever. But there's advantages to both systems. Yeah. I do prefer this system, but I do totally sympathize with the people who just want to watch the whole thing at once. But Disney made their choice, and that's what they're going with.
I definitely think I definitely feel like I probably wouldn't have dropped off those Netflix Marvel shows at the last bit had they stretched them out a bit more. I think I know that it didn't help me because I didn't finish pretty much all of the last seasons of the Netflix shows because I just got like burnt out of like episode, just like
right. And that is the other side of the binge culture thing. If you are not a binge watcher, which neither of us really are, then having everything drop at once actually kind of pushes it to the back of the backlog because you're kind of like, well, this will still be here, but I've got to watch the new episode of Star Wars Resistance because I've got to be ready for next week. And Jessica Jones will still be here next week and all 13 episodes will be there. And so it kind of becomes a lower priority item when you're not into the binge. Now, obviously,
especially when you get that middle lull, the middle lull in the series where you're like, oh God, I need a break. But nevertheless, that is all of the kind of the first wave of announcements. As I said, we are expecting a second wave either before or after launch. But let us know in the comments below or on the Facebook group, etc., what movies you are most excited for from the ones that have been revealed. What did you think of the way they released the news? Did you like that or not? Love to hear your thoughts. Remember to go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. You can also check us out on our Patreon as well. You can also subscribe on the audio platforms. Feel free to give us 5-star reviews. And you can also join us on YouTube as well. We'll be back next week with another episode. Obviously, as well, I do daily videos as well with all the latest news on the YouTube channel. So you want to subscribe there. And we shall see you guys in another episode. Laters.
Later.